Congressman, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I wanted to start with what's been happening in the House. I mean, you are relatively new to being a member, less than a year here, but you've been around members for a long time. As you observe it and when you speak with your veteran colleagues, have you noticed a shift in Congress toward more threats and insults, even amongst each other?
Well, certainly this Republican Party is demonstrating its complete dysfunction that's now fallen into actual violence. We have been in D.C. for 10 straight weeks, which is much longer than usual. But I think it's more a reflection of the fact that the House Republicans in particular cannot get anything done. Not only are they not working with Democrats, they can't even resolve among themselves how they want to go forward. And so tensions are incredibly high. They have a failed impeachment inquiry going on. They can't pass any legislation. They end up doing what the Democrats want because that's the only thing that can get through. And then there's a backlash from the far right. And so not only do you have WWE in one day in Congress this week, but you also had a Republican member of the House go to the floor and demand that his leadership tell him one single thing that the Republicans have gotten done this year that he can campaign on, because there is nothing. So this is really a civil war within the Republican Party, and it's a shame for the American people, because we're ready to work. We're ready to get stuff done for the American people.
I want to also turn to Trump, of course, and just some of what the reporting has been around some of his conversations, also as we anticipate a year full of trials next year. I want to take a listen to part of a conversation that he had with ABC's Jonathan Karl about January 6th and get your thoughts on the other end.
You told them you were going to go up to the Capitol. Were you just...
I was going to, and the Secret Service said, you can't. And then by the time I would have, and then when I got back, I wanted to go back. I was thinking about going back during the problem to stop the problem, doing it myself. Secret Service didn't like that idea too much.
So what?
And I could have done that, and you know what? I would have been very well received.
So there's been so much speculation, contemplation, discussion of what Trump wanted to do, what he knew or didn't know. I mean, do you think, as a prosecutor, former prosecutor, this is something that could be useful in the case against Trump? How will it be used?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, he says I would be well received because he knows that the people who were there are his supporters who he riled up and incited to invade and riot at the Capitol and try to disrupt the proper counting of the Electoral College votes. So every time he talks, he's putting himself into a bigger criminal hole. That's not his objective. His objective is purely political at this point. Politics don't work in a courtroom, as I think he's finding out in the New York Attorney General's case in New York, a civil case, and that's going to continue in his criminal trials. But his rhetoric is really getting dangerous, more and more dangerous. And we saw what happened on January 6th when he uses inflammatory rhetoric now, and his recent Truth Social post is incredibly scary for anyone that might be trying to work in government. And it is just unquestionable at this point that man cannot see public office again. He is not only unfit, he is destructive to our democracy, and he has to be eliminated.
There are several hearings going on right now and back and forth over gag orders in various cases. None of it seems to be working. What do you think? What are the consequences that might work and having Trump dial back his language, or would anything work?
Well, I've noted that the gag orders are very specific to the case that they relate to. It is not of trying to infringe on his ability to campaign or make political speech. It's really just trying to stop him from threatening witnesses, prosecutors, and judges, which, of course, is out of bounds. And if he continues to do that, there will be a ratchet up of penalties, and it may start with fines, but it could ultimately end up with jail time. And at some point, Donald Trump believes he is above the law, and he is going to meet the law head first.